know that.
That was almost a really good intro, like from parlaying banter like into an intro, like a professional, like improv, and just boom. No, was it? Do you do the duct tape on the satellite again? Is that?
Oh God, no. Just it takes a moment to adjust. Sorry about that. Like I can get off the
Obfuscate
bandwidth.
working overdrive.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I am, of course, the magical Mr. Mephisto. This is Milwaukee by Night, Endless Elegy, Part 3, Transmission. That is for all my music fans out there, that is a direct reference to the Joy Division song of the same name. So, if you want to blast a little Joy Division in the background while we get going here, feel free to. Or you can let this riff, this sick lick, that Charlotte actually engineered play in the background. So you'll note that tonight we're gonna have some ambient sound playing for you. So that's pretty freaking radical, I think. Again, I am Mephisto. This is Milwaukee by Night. I'm gonna go ahead and start off by allowing my party to introduce themselves, who they are, who they're playing, and we'll jump right into where we left off last week. Starting with Abby. Sorry.
Howdy, howdy. I am none other than the marvelous Pixie, whatever you want to call her. I'm our clan's local Nosferatu. And really, depending on the mood, I'm either an anxious raccoon in a trench coat with two others below me, or I am one of the most methodical people in the room, but we'll see this night.
Fantastic. Charlotte.
I can't follow that up. But I will try.
There you go.
I am Charlotte. Yeah, I'm Charlotte. You can find me on all the places in the interwebs at Foxfire22. And tonight I'm going to be reprising my role as Elizabeth, and I'm just going to do Toreador things.
Fantastic.
Hashtag just Toreador things.
All right, and we'll let the audience's minds wander as to what that could possibly be. Scott, how's it going tonight?
My name is Scott. I'll be playing Ben Sahar, and I am displeased that the Toreador things is being appropriated from my usual Tremere things. I don't appreciate that, and I will be trying to get my Tremere things back from the Toreador tonight.
I'm going to see a little bit better audio quality every time we stream, so hopefully you'll get that new setup, and you'll sound even better than, well, okay, it's impossible to sound better than me, but you'll sound a little bit better than the next person we're introducing, which is Ty. Ty, how's it going?
Good evening, everyone. I am Ty, and I'll be taking up the role of Salvatore, everyone's favorite necromancer this evening, and I'm looking for more t-shirts. So if you got a line on any shirts, let Salvatore know.
That's a direct reference to the previous episode. I like it. Good stuff.
Which everyone will know because they've all been caught up for days, waiting for this moment.
Right. You've been checking out the VOD over on YouTube. You've done the like and subscribe business. You've been paying attention to the social medias, following Foxfire22 on Twitter and anywhere you can, because she's really kind of like the brains behind the operation that keeps making me do more work by making us look like a real podcast. This is a real actual play. I don't.
Would you say I would be manipulating you like a Toreador would?
You know what? It's got to be anyone. All right. And then last but certainly not least, my oldest friend in the world, Sam. How's it going, Sam?
I'm Sam. I'm playing Cass, the resident Malkavian, and I am the sober cab.
What was that?
I said, and I am the sober cab.
It's very Malkavian of you. And of course, Sam has zero social media presence whatsoever, true to Malkavian form, really, if you ask me. As I said, I'm Mephisto. Let's jump right in. So, last week we were at the Rave. The band had finally met Memento Mori's sort of becoming sort of a cult buzz sort of singer, Athena Hayes. Found out that sort of like backstage Athena was a lot more down to earth, sort of bookish, rather kind. Met the mysterious guitarist Nails and heard tell of the band manager Tomlin, who is of yet MIA. Despite the, I don't know if we would say protests of folks in the party or some other sort of external voices saying, hey, maybe don't stay for the whole thing, the party chose to stay and witness the performance of Athena. And well, we have two, I think, different accounts of the events. We got to see the perspective from Ty as we sort of closed last week. And as we begin this week, we're going to start with a old trope and old cliche, the flashback, or flash forward, rather. So you actually hear a sort of muffled, like sort of garbled, as you only get that certain sort of pop and static of an AM station. As welcome back to Creepy MKE AM. I am, of course, your host, Laszlo, and with me, as always, is my partner in crime, Nora. Hey, everybody. It's Nora. How's it going? And tonight we're going to talk about, well, first, I want to say something. Being a resident, parts unknown, host, But anyway, around where I'm from, it said it was supposed to be 50 degrees today, and on my phone, and it definitely felt like 50 degrees, but when I was outside, it felt a lot more like 15. Well, yeah, that's, Nora jumps in. She's like, yeah, that's called the lake effect. No, I mean, you don't understand, I knew it was 50, but I felt like it was 15. Yeah, it's called the lake effect. And then, what do you mean, like there's like a monster in the lake? No, just that the body of water retains, hot, cold differently from the air around it. So if you get a breeze off the colder lake, it's gonna, it sounds like lake monsters to me. Anyway, we were going to talk about the Rave last night. So, by all accounts, Momentum Mori slayed it. They crushed it. But it's what they're not telling you. It's what they're not telling you that you need to be paying attention to, man. Because I'm telling you, it didn't. It was a little suspicious. What do you mean? What do you mean suspicious? Yeah, there was a gas leak. There was a but Pentex showed up on site to throw some aid at the community. In addition to We Energies, they were really on top of things. No, I'm talking about the werewolves, man. There was a werewolf sighting. Hand to God, I've got eyewitness accounts right here. I've even got their Instas, but because they're listening, what, like the Illuminati? No, they, because they're listening. I'm not gonna out these Instas, okay? I'm not gonna out our faithful fans to MKE, creepy MKE. Wait, no, don't go to commercial. And suddenly we catch a vision of Salvatore in this club. Everyone is having the greatest time of their life, the almost compelled greatest time of their life. The whole room is filled up with Gein who are in their own world, just weaving, moving. They are in a symphonic ballet of movement to this music that is all their own. But everyone within the, we are not calling it a coterie yet, party, has sort of frozen in place. As rigid as if they were in torpor, but they're still standing. Salvador picked out a couple other people that were as likely, or as similarly frozen. And this is where we're kind of going to jump into the perspectives of the others, beginning first with Cass. Cass, you find yourself in a sort of green-hued room staring up at a single light. You go to move your body, but you find you're restricted. Looking all around are people in sort of full biochem suits, in sort of this like anachronistic style. You can't quite pick out a time frame, but the masks that they're wearing, the rebreathing rig looks a little bit older, a little bit dated. It immediately strikes you as familiar and alien. You begin to go to breathe, and they're like, you just hear them kind of coming through their muffled mask. All right, hook them up. This time we're going to up the dosage. I don't want him to feel anything. And you feel the pain as the syringes sort of jut into your neck from both sides and experience a sort of total loss of self. All right, I want you to lift your left hand. Against your will, you lift your left hand. Leave it there. All right, put it down. Now the right hand. Keep it there. And as you're holding the hand there, your eyes sort of catch the light, and you can hear this sort of resonant sound coming from someplace else. It's not in the room with you, it's penetrative. It's like on a different frequency. And it pulls you sort of into the light, and you get flashes of Athena, and you're suddenly beginning to remember where you were supposed to be, that this isn't right, this isn't my time, this isn't my place. And as you sort of glimpse this, you're back on the battlefield. You can still hear Athena's voice. You can put your hand down now. You hear Athena's voice, and you're still sort of like in the the sort of smock from the hospital, and you even have the bed that you were on, the gurney beside you, and you've kind of like gotten off of it, and you look around and you survey a recent battlefield. The pock marks of explosions and shrapnel are everywhere, and in place of where there should be war implements or the signs of battle, you just see more and more of these gurneys and empty, sort of vacated hazmat suits. You now, under your own will, look to the sky to see a red twin-tailed comet sort of beginning to streak across, and as it sort of moves and seems to get larger, you can hear the pitch and intensity of Athena's voice increasing. It strikes somewhere down, off in the sea, this sort of shiftless, void of light sea. Or maybe it's just a lake too large to see beyond the horizon, who knows. It impacts, the tidal waves rise, and suddenly you're kind of hit with this like weird sort of chaotic jovialness, this letting go, and it's not an explosion, it's rain, and you start dancing and playing in the rain. So we're going to cut to Ben. Ben, you're in a club. This isn't your club. Well, maybe it was in a different time. You're not certain. But you've since sort of like, man, that scene was getting a little too heavy for me. And Ben has sort of retreated into the back, like a private restroom off the office type thing. And well, it must be my club, Ben perhaps thinks, as Ben's taste is evidenced, but you don't remember the location. It's just not coming to you. It's not clicking, and you can hear the throbbing and pumping of distant club sounds. It must be 80s night. You can hear the synth guitar going off and everything. You put your palms on the sink and look into the mirror. It's cracked in the top right, but you can see that sort of in such a way that it sort of casts multiple reflections, and you can see varying degrees of yourself in all different states of scarred, aged, and in every one of them your eyes have blackened. One of them in the top corner grimaces you. The other ones move along with you like you might expect, but this one stays fixed, intense. It looks down to its arm. You look to your arm and you can see your skin has cracked, almost like when you see magma sort of like boiling into the ocean that cracks and pops and stretches. Your skin's done the same thing. And you can see these sort of rifts in it where this sort of black ichor, viscous, seems to be coming out. All of the reflections of the mirror now become a familiar face to you. Not yours. Someone worse. Your worst enemy. Someone from a different time. Someone from a different place.
I'll attempt to raise my hands against the glass and see if I can get through it.
All right. You push your hand on the glass, and after there's at first some resistance. It's solid. No, this isn't solid. All mirrors are. I mean, glass is. It's viscous, right? Glass is a high viscosity liquid. Yeah, it is. And you convince yourself of this. You push through, and you find yourself falling through the other side. You're now on the other side of the mirror, staring at a familiar face. It looks up at you and grins. You're mine now, it says. At last. You recognize this face.
I'm gonna reach up and like punch the glass and say, "I'm gonna kill you."
Your voice makes no noise. You soundless, pounding on the glass. And as you hit the glass, you sort of catch glint of this light just over the shoulder of this ancient enemy. You hear it first muffled, kind of in time with the synth guitar before, but the synth guitar has long since been distorted into alien noises. But the voice you can make out, it's Athena's. She slowly pulls you back through the mirror. You topple on top of this shadow self. You're now gripping your blade above it. You look over, your hand's normal again. You plunge it into this other version of yourself. And we're going to meld to Pix. Pix stands in a desert. It's empty, save for a couple lone, sort of like, really rocky hills and a little brush. It's one of those, not sure if it's way too late at night or way too early in the morning parts where Pix can start to see the lone bead of light tracing its way across the horizon, and she's too disoriented to tell if it's east or west. A pit in her stomach rises like it's danger, something she's become used to with the sunlight. There's no one.
Not even if I cry out. It's so close to home. It's like New Mexico. It's just like Shiprock, but if I cry out, does anyone answer me?
Pix tries her voice. It carries forever. The hills almost seem to be like two little tuning forks that send the pitch off even further than she would expect it. This isn't how sound works. But you're certain this is the loudest you've ever screamed. Maybe if you try louder this time. Maybe if you get to the top of that hill.
It has to. Just getting out of whatever acoustic hell this is, whatever game is being played here, I can't be alone. I can't. Not out here. Not with the sun so close to rising.
She scrambles up the hills, the rocks sort of slipping and tumbling below her, making her path difficult, and she crests the hill. She's at the top. She try her voice again. Does she look around for another person?
Of course, just almost pleading for that silhouette, that not just another cactus or a broken down tree, just something human, something close enough to human to anything at this point.
She frantically searches around. She begins spinning in place, trying to seek, and suddenly the whole area sort of begins to blur. Hill, desert, shrub, cactus, and it just all just swirls and blurs together. She's getting dizzy. She stops, and she comes face to face with the horizon. That bead of light is now a fire. It's blazing on the horizon. That's the sun. It's the sun. She thinks to shield herself. And she catches something in her hands. At first there's pain, but then there's nothing. But like the good nothing. She opens her hands. There's a single bead of light. And she looks into it. She's not alone. Everyone's in there.
Everyone.
She hears a voice. It's coming out of there. But it's not just one voice. Yes, you hear Athena's, you can pick it out, but there's a chorus. Is that your mom singing with her? You'd recognize her voice anywhere. It's gotta be.
It's gotta be.
Perhaps Grandma? Huh.
Just everyone from home and Athena in some kind of Little chorus. I'm not alone.
She stares into the light, and it begins to overtake her vision as we cut to Elizabeth. Elizabeth is back somewhere familiar, a penthouse perhaps. We see the stern visage of Victoria standing out, looking out, surveying her kingdom. You've disappointed me, Elizabeth.
Well, if you've been around long enough, you would have known that this wouldn't be the first time, nor the last.
No. Disappointment's not the word. She doesn't even hear you. Disappointment's not the word. Betrayed. Yes, betrayed. She turns around. You hurt me. It's not a... This look is almost sadistic. You had one job.
I had one job.
One.
You had one job.
She doesn't hear you.
You
She's
were
talking
to be there for me. You were never there. I didn't even know who you were until 4 years ago.
Perhaps if you were worthy of my attention sooner, I'd have thought to care. You had your opportunity to prove worth my attention, and you failed.
Yeah, look how that turned out.
Disappointing for all of us. She turns to face the window again, and you can see this sort of twin-tailed comet beginning to streak across the skyline. At first you think it's sunlight, but no, the comet's just that bright. And as it streaks, you hear this song, this voice again. You're no longer in the room with Victoria. You're in the room alone. This is your room. This is your city. We cut back momentarily to Salvatore. The torpid individuals have begun to bob with the music now. Started to sway with it. Not in time the way the rest are. They kind of seem to be at their own pace, their own rhythm, listening to their own song. Salvatore, as you sort of observe this, you see Ren, the only other kindred adjacent, we'll say, that has sort of resisted the song. Look at you first. Knowingly makes eye contact with a predator of your caliber. She has this panicked look as she begins looking to the stage. She sees something you don't. She freezes. You didn't think a corpse? Well, maybe a thin blood's a little bit different, but you didn't think a corpse could go that pallid. You've seen some long dead corpses in your career as a necromancy. She freezes. Her hand begins to shake. She sees something moving behind the curtain. You turn your head and you see the movement, but you're at the wrong angle. It's high up. It's bulging. And then this note just gets hit. You think it's coming from Athena at first. It certainly has the intensity. It has the harmonics. But you notice it's the party. They're all singing with her. You lose the continuity of your own consciousness. You're pulled out of yourself. Everybody is now standing in a sort of warmly lit, little bit off-green, sort of that green to yellow hue hospital waiting room. It's anachronistic in nature. There might be that chair over there is upholstered with the sort of newly fashionable pleather prints of the 70s. That over there is just a plain wooden chair. There's a desk, and everyone's standing around, and there's a sort of like weird, sort of just discordant lobby music just kind of bobbing and playing, and it sort of crackles and stops, and then it starts back up. Cass is currently on the ground, doubled over, his sort of palms on his head. Maybe one hand quick searches his neck for it doesn't seem to find anything. And the reality of the room around him seems to shift with his movements. It becomes apparent to folks rather quickly that you're not in your own place. This is somehow Cass's, but Cass would tell you it's not. Cass, you can see everywhere you look just these two lines of gibberish words repeating themselves anywhere print or text should be. Where there should be an exit sign, you see one line. Across the hall, a different exit sign, but it doesn't say exit. It should process as exit, but every time you go to read it, you know what EXIT, that says exit. And as your brain goes to translate it, you read a different line.
What's the line?
The first line is hunt the shadow sleepers. The other line is when love and hate turn strange. Anywhere you look, you maybe even frantically move over to like the guest log where you'd sign in for like the hospital, or like grab a medical chart, like, you know, frantically from behind the desk, and same thing. You see what should be words, name, date of birth, but anytime your brain goes to translate them, you only get these two lines: hunt the shadow sleepers, when love and hate turn strange. And you're trying to, you know, there's supposed to be something in between it, but it's like a word scramble. Every time you try to read something else, it doesn't compute. The party witnesses Cass do this, and you all have your relative wits and agency about you, but the longer you stand here, the more and more wherever you just were fades to the back of your mind.
I don't know if it's in the air, definitely not in anything I drank. But whatever is going on right now is something I don't understand, and I want it gone immediately. I'm going to go up to Cass and put a hand on his shoulder. I'm not sure if talking to him is going to be the best idea right now. I know when I'm in the middle of, like, sheer panic, that tunnel vision, I just need helping ground him. Might help. Just maybe, if my presence is enough, it'll get us out of whatever this is.
So this weird thing happens when you place your hand on Cass's shoulder. It's almost like the area, the air around Cass is made of like watercolors. And you sort of like, as your hand moves through the air, it sort of disturbs them, and they all sort of percolate out and bounce into each other and form little beads and splotches that grow and stuff. But then as your hand touches them, they all kind of sharply come back into focus even better than before. It looked like Victoria was about to say something. Or sorry, Elizabeth, sorry.
Keep my character straight, will you?
I know, I'm trying.
Yeah, I don't know. All this started when they started playing. So it might be in the air.
You all froze completely in place. And then I heard you all singing. Pulled me here as well.
Were they singing? No, were they screaming? You don't remember? They might have been screaming.
No,
now it's foggy.
Sound.
It's starting to fade already from you. Go ahead. Did I lose? No. Sorry, Ty. What did you say? Sorry, what was Salvatore saying?
Just that you all brought me here.
Where is here? And as I'm asking that, I'm going to start walking towards exits, or what would be an exit of the room, and see if I can open a door or leave.
In classic horror movie logic, you look up and you see exit. You head towards the exit. You walk out the one exit, come right back underneath the other exit sign. Like,
Well, shit.
That's not supposed to happen like that, is it?
No.
Mirrors,
I don't think any of this is supposed
windows,
to be happening.
any glass like mirrors or windows in this office or this waiting room?
apart from the, apart from like a small, maybe like actually classically glass partition over one of the desks, and like where the sort of most visibly forward visitor's spot would be, and then the rest of the desks are kind of off back, perhaps for secretaries, for other sort of station nurses or whatever. Apart from that, like not really. There's no windows to the exterior. You can see these sort of two exit halls on either flank to these sort of the desk area where Cass and Pix currently are. You've got Ben standing underneath the one exit flank, and behind you there's the classic. Oh yeah, I suppose yeah. You have the classic sort of double glass doors that go into a small lobby area. Two more double glass doors, and you think you can see a road outside, but it's really foggy out there. Everything seems off-colored beyond those glass doors too. Like in here, it's already sort of a strange, warm green-yellow light. Out there, it's somehow more dour, cooler. Beyond like the sort of purple to red hue and a cold purple and a cold red at that.
Well, you couldn't see if there's any ghosts or anything around, could you?
Sal just kind of shrugs, and then will, I imagine, since it's technically a new scene, I will deaden my senses to everything else and focus in on if there are any fetters here, if I see any trace of. I mean, I know we were last in the Rave, and it was shockingly, abundantly clear that there were, but I'll do that here and see if I see anything like that.
Okay. So you sort of have one of these moments. You'd have to rouse, or is this one free? This is one of the free ones.
Yeah, this is just
You sort of begin to focus. You block out, sort of what's in front of you, and a bizarre thing happens. You're looking for fetters. You're looking for not. The first thing is you actually sort of catch this similar strand that you saw, kind of the silver sort of tinsel going infinitely up and infinitely down. You see it sort of at a diagonal, intersecting, almost dissecting Cass. You didn't see it before. You were with him before. Just sort of dissecting at this angle, piercing through his heart like a stake through the back. And going infinitely, diagonally, up and down. The second thing that happens is you sort of begin tracing that, and you are sort of shunted from your own consciousness. And you're sort of adrift and drifting further and further away from the waiting room. And there's nothing around it. You can like going out of bounds. You're just staring at this thing that from your perspective has no ceiling, no walls. There's nothing outside, just abyss and just more abyss above. Just the living black. And the longer you try to focus on these fetters, the further and further you drift away. The party sees Salvatore go catatonic and fall over. You think he starts saying something. You're not certain.
Oh, come on, Sal. Not you too. Pixie's just gonna go up to him. I don't think smelling salts work on vampires, but it's just snapping her fingers in his face, just trying to get him up. We can't lose. I mean, first cast, now this. It just, whatever this place is, we gotta. This stuff catches. Everyone's gotta stay up. We gotta stay present.
Sal, you hear this really distant, echoey snap. It's coming back from the waiting room. Maybe if you focus on that, you can get back.
I'm gonna try to shift my attention and my focus away from that silver thread to the noise, and however I can try to stop myself from drifting further and further out.
Sal closes eyes, focuses on the snap and the noise, and then one more snap, and your just eyes open back up. You've since deactivated the power, and you're back in the waiting room. It's got walls and a ceiling and a door and all those things it's got to be, but you suddenly feel very claustrophobic. Like you've been at the edge of everything and seen that there's nothing.
Probably not a great feeling to wake up to Pix's face on the ground.
There's nothing around us.
Nothing? What about the
I
exits?
was drifting away.
Jesus. I mean, there has to be a way out from this, right? Like, there's no windows. I mean, the exits, they don't work. It's just...
I went through Cass.
Cass?
What went through Cass?
Silver, like a rope, just a rope of silver.
So as he's explaining this, I'm going to start walking over to Cass, and I'm going to start putting a ward against spirits around Cass, seeing if I can sever this silver line.
Similar to when Pix approached Cass. The closer you get to Cass, the more the sort of area around seems to distort like watercolors. Just like smash away from you and then like kind of intersect with each other and then sort of get all blotchy and stuff. And then they sort of as you get close enough to Cass to touch him and maybe you brush him, they kind of like come back into focus and reality seems a little bit more real to you than not prior to having touched him. You begin to draw this ward. Before I move on, is Elizabeth doing anything?
I'm just watching, kind of like what's going on with the guys. Kind of looking when Pick starts snapping her fingers at Sal and seeing him come back. Nothing, like I'm not doing anything outward. I'm just kind of watching and seeing what's going on. Not sure what to make of the whole situation myself.
Right. To be clear, you observe the watercolor thing happen too. Like when anyone, it's like they disrupt whatever frequency Cass is on, and then it sort of snaps back in when you become, almost as soon as you become aware of it, that you've disrupted whatever is going on. As you sort of begin to complete the ward, as you're sort of observing your surroundings, you hear a voice. Well, I shouldn't say a voice. You hear all voices. All creeds, genders, all people, all everything, all intonations, all versions of any voice you've ever heard, voices familiar, voices that you've never even perceived or conceived of before, all simultaneously, all in unison say, "Stop." It's coming from everywhere. It's coming through the walls. It's coming through that speaker up there that's all distorted and weird where they should be making announcements.
We all hear this? What is the volume of the voice?
Uncomfortably loud, but oddly soothing.
Different than the voice that kind of gave me the warning to leave.
Actually, this would be the opposite of that.
Okay.
Is Cass aware of any of this going on?
Yeah, Cass, you're full agency again.
Oh. So I see the rest of the party and all that.
Yep. You recognize the waiting room. The waiting room is one of the more vivid memories Cass has from his what could have been 6 different wars, what could have just been one really traumatic one. War is war, right? It's you remember a waiting room like this, but as you look around and observe, you're like, well, I don't know if that chair is from like my house when I was a kid or something like that, and that chair is from this, and that desk is from like a sitcom I used to like. The waiting room you recognize. The waiting room was a very real place, but everything inside of it, it's your brain has sort of picked little effigies for time and place to populate it and make it familiar to you. The voice comes through again. We've observed many before, they say in their harmonious, chaotic manner. We are the voice of all. You may call us V. And it is time to begin the tuning again. You hear chattering of the voices suddenly sort of get disorganized and seem to be communicating with themselves, and like a parliament shouting at each other, or 2 angry crowds screaming across the street at each other. Like it makes your skin turn inward, and you can feel the anxiety as it suddenly comes back into harmony. No. They might as well try. The voice seems to come to a consensus. Your kind do not typically make it here. But I suppose you'll have to do.
I kind of call out a little bit to the voice, like Nora in particular, just like, God, is that you? What do you mean you're kind? Make it here, make it where? Where are we?
The children of Cain, of course, don't make it here.
Why not?
A treaty.
With yourselves? I mean, no offense, but if we're not supposed to be here, then I think there's been a mix-up.
No. Supposed to has nothing to do with it. That's not how things work.
Broken treaties mean war, do they not?
Astute. Messenger. And the voice of all, the V, says your name. It says messenger like it's your name, like just casually. And all the voices sort of fall in behind in like a harmonious chatter. Just messenger, messenger, messenger. Like, and they all echo.
What treaty?
That is not important. But when your kind was not allowed to walk in the daylight, it was assumed that you could not make it here either. For this place is all light, but all darkness as well. The place between.
I kind of ignore all that and focus on the not important parts. If we're trapped here against our will, whatever treaty it is important.
What is in motion has already begun, as it has already happened. Ergo, if the treaty was to be broken, it has already been broken, and is unimportant.
Look, we weren't trying to break it. I'm sure it's... None of us meant to be here. We just... Whatever the between is, we just want... I want to go back. Please. And Pix is just... She is shaking. Just absolutely petrified. Like, whatever bravado tonight that she got from the looks. And talking to people at the ticket booth is just gone. Pure terror.
Return in time you will, but first you must help the tuning. It must begin.
The tuning? I mean, yeah.
Disharmony. And then, like, the voices chatter now, like, out of sync from each other. You know, disharmony, disharmony. And they all talk over each other, and it smashes them together like a car crash. Your world, but one of many, stands on the brink. A nexus, a place of intersection between. If it is not tuned, all will unravel. All will be discord. All will be as nothing was once all.
Why can't you just speak plainly? Why the riddles?
It takes a great deal of effort for the unknowable to communicate with the known. Different lengths, difficult.
Then if it's so difficult, why don't you send us back? You start to see that Elizabeth is getting a little shaken at all of what's going on.
All right. Once again, that sort of like parade of disharmony where the voice of all seems to yell at itself type thing happens again. And you hear just snippets of different voices that you're able to pluck out, the ones that your ears have become particularly tuned to, the ones that maybe sound like somebody you knew, or like a radio broadcaster voice or something like that. And you can start to hear the static sort of like looping, this white noise between all the voices that you can pick out. It's getting more and more difficult to focus on. But you hear, no, they're not the ones. No, they're not ready. Yes, they are. They're here. They have to be. And like you just hear this argument, this bickering. Like, how do we know that they weren't sent? How do we know that they found their way? And you just hear this argument break out, and then suddenly the voices all in one shout, "No! Intruder! Intruder! You're not supposed to be here! Not them not! You not!" And then the front doors begin to open, and you see this black form sort of enter. This tall, sort of melted wax sort of figure that as you try to focus your sight on it, it's just your vision blurs, and you can't look at it willingly. You always find yourself looking past it and catching it in your peripheral. It's hard. It's like staring at nothing, and the nothing stares back so intensely you're just incapable of perceiving it. Leave now, it says to the party. No, the message is changing. The message never changes. And then this figure says to beyond the party, as the static begins to become too intense, you can make out sort of muffled the voice of all talking back to it, but you hear this thing's voice clearly, and it says, "Ours. All ours. Always." You don't make out a word there. Ben. Always. Will be. You're back in the Rave.
Weird.
The lights have sort of like come on, but also the storm lights are. You can see people in a sort of mid-panic rushing out. Ren still frozen where Salvatore saw her before. And the stage is just in utter disarray. It looks like an explosion went off. Some of the lights hang down. The curtain has been sort of stripped from its rings. The panic, you're catching the tail end of it. Nails is where Athena would have been at the, the mic and stuff like that, doubled over his sort of jagged ragged, that ancient venerable quilt, sort of like punk rock, time quilt type thing, and his skin, it's mangled. Something bad happened to Nails. None of the other band members can be seen, and kind of glancing past the tattered curtain, you can see the sort of like back door exit that would have been backstage for emergencies and stuff. Is not only is it ajar, but it is off its hinges. You can hear sirens blaring in the background, but also the whine of some Harleys.
I told you any place could be a war zone, little bat. Cass will say, looking over at Pixie.
Pix is still coming into herself. She's gone from one anxiety-inducing reality into the other, and it's just... Cass's words are grounding, but... oh my god, my life has become a war.
Did we find Athena?
I don't see her. Maybe she went out the exit. I don't know. I'm just seeing now. I mean, you all saw that, right? Like, that wasn't just me.
We can talk about that later, but we should leave here.
Should we check on the band first?
I mean, Tucker wants to know, but I don't want to upset whatever that thing was.
We got sirens coming from the distance, and we have... can't remember from last session. Did we know for sure that Nails was one of us, or is that kind of just Cass? Or did Cass tell us or hint at us that that's what that was?
Cass tends to murmur a lot. It's possible Cass let some of the network, as it were, slip through in some of his murmurings and mentioned that Nails was a kindred.
I think we should go check on him while the sirens are coming. He doesn't look too good, and we don't need anybody asking questions, if you get what I'm saying.
Pixie'll nod, right? Right, and I have juice boxes at home if he needs it that bad. Just, we gotta make it quick. And Pixie'll head up to the stage.
So,
Jukebox, huh?
Ren, still hunched over, like, in the corner by the stage, just frozen.
Salvatore is going to head to Ren as the others kind of move to Nails, because I think he's the only one that was aware that she did not see, or she saw what happened and didn't experience something. So
we'll handle this in kind of two phases. First, we'll go with the sort of by the stage. You notice Nails, despite how ragged his body and flesh looks, disturbing lack of blood. There is one solid pool, but it doesn't appear to be his. You actually can see that that guitar that looked like an axe has tufts of, is that fur? And some sort of like mangled flesh on it, and a little bit of blood. And that pool of blood seems to kind of, you can trace like almost a trajectory, lazy CSI style, like to like the viscera. And again, he himself, he's torn up. These gashes, it just go deep, and he took a beating. I mean, yeah, kindred, but wow. It's not final death, but
He was damn close to it.
like he's certainly in torpor. Like unresponsive. I mean, the most corpse-like your kind can get, before final death, basically.
Oh shit. Pixis is gonna shout over her shoulder to the others. He's not responsive.
We gotta get the old timer out of here.
I've got a place we can hide him, but we have to move and fast. And Pixie, with all her little bony Nosferatu strength, is just gonna try to pick him up by that old jean jacket and just try and pick him up.
Deceptively heavy for as lanky as he, like just solid hundreds, 1,000-year-old corpse, just dense,
Would one say a little bit of dead weight?
Yes, they would.
God damn it.
I didn't have to do it. You could tell which two GMs party. Yeah.
Don't
I
hurt
don't know,
yourself too
comparing to
much.
I don't know. I was enjoying comparing him to a juice box, but that was just me.
Just Diab the potential Methuselah Malkavian. What could go wrong?
Oh no.
Cass will assist. You'll like fireman's carry nails.
Elizabeth, Ben, do they do anything?
Yeah, I'm going to head out the door that's off its hinges to see what's out there and kind of motion for the others to follow. Try and get out the back door before the authorities come in through the front.
So, Ben?
I'm going to locate my truck.
You can leave back out the front door. That's where the crowds tend to be going, or you could go out the unhinged door and kind of wind back around.
I'm
Something
going to
tells
take
me
the
when we're going
fastest
back.
method to getting my truck.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm going to take the fastest route to my truck.
That would be going back out the front door then. Pix, what did Pix say?
Sorry about that. I was just saying, we've got well, we're all dead, but we've got a very dead-looking man. Let's stick to the back.
And then now we'll go to Salvatore. Salvatore, you get over to Ren. Ren doesn't register your presence at first.
I just kind of place my hand on her shoulder and give a brusque shake.
As you do that, she does a quick sort of reflexive panic, sort of grabs your arm back, looks up, sees you.
Easy there.
You're kindred, she says. Sorry. She looks around, realizing the potential, breach of protocol. She is clearly new to this, by the way. It comes through pretty apparently, and she just looks around panicked, almost as if the sheriff or Milwaukee's equivalent, which are the three judges and the executioner, are just waiting to chop her head off for even saying the word kindred, type. That's the level of panic you see in her. But that's quickly, melts away to the initial, and she looks back over to, the stage, and she now sees this activity with Nails up on Cass's shoulders and add Pix helping.
Focus.
It was
slow down.
A werewolf.
Did it survive?
It got her.
Took Athena.
It got. It hurt him. Hurt him bad. It got her. It just didn't care. It couldn't be stopped.
Killed Athena or took her?
Took her.
You need to leave here. Do you have somewhere you can go?
No. Maybe a friend's house, but they don't. She looks around again. He doesn't trust me, she says, and she looks up at you.
Who doesn't?
Decker.
Decker.
I didn't help the last time. I wanted to.
Well, you're helping this time. You saw what happened and let us know. Get somewhere safe. Lay low. We'll talk about what happened another time.
Do I? Ren. Ren. She seems to find her voice.
Salvatore.
I'm a thin blood. She says. That's what they call me, and she moves her like hair to the side. She looks at the like front door or the back door, and she starts like puts her hands in her red leather jacket pockets, and she starts heading towards the. I know where they went. She says as she kind of gets to the doorway.
Where?
A park near here.
Which park? I'm not from here.
It's She turns around and she points. Well, I'm just gonna say Lincoln Park for now, but it's named something else. Sorry, keep it moving. Lincoln Park. It's she just that way. It's connected to the trail. They all use it.
Thank you.
She just like starts running.
And Cell look back to see if there's any sign of his companions.
They pretty much made their way to the door. Ben's already in front of where Ren was, type thing.
Yeah, and I'll briskly head that way.
With the bulk of the party, or with Ben?
With the bulk.
Okay.
I'll follow the body. Cass may need some help.
Got it. All right. Where do you go? Sorry, it's Hubbard Park. Hubbard Park.
Hubbard. That's the one right on the river with the tunnel, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, real quick, as the party sort of heads, I can see the party's gears turning here, real quick.
Pick suggested her haven to specifically take nails to. It is, I mean, it's just about everything you'd expect from a Nosferatu, but most importantly, it is quiet. We are not likely to be seen. We can let whatever has happened here blow over while we wait below the sidewalk.
We need to let Decker know what's happened here.
But
They
what
took
about
Athena.
him?
They took her to
They
Hubbard
took her?
Park. Yes.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. I guess he can deal with nails too, but you're right, Decker. Stadium. Wherever he is. Let's just I don't want to be here anymore.
Was Ben bringing the truck around, or do I need to call us a ride?
I think he was running out front, probably to get his truck or whatever. It's just
Is Ben retrieving the truck, or is Ben number one first?
Ben is retrieving his truck because it has a bunch of weapons and his name on it, so he doesn't want it left ominously alone with no body at this place. And then we'll do a quick drive around and see if I see them. If not, yeah, I'm out.
Damn. So as luck would have it, Ben does kind of do one of those quick drive around, and you find yourself like the camera frame is just sort of busting out the back of the Rave, as like you can see Pentex vehicles actually arriving first, and you've got the Ambassador Hotel, famous scene of a massacre, right? Just off here diagonal, just with a big, bright red neon sign that says The Ambassador on this like 30-story, brick building. It looks like apartment like complex almost, more than it does a hotel, right? Just The Ambassador. And then right behind the Rave, this weird sort of colonial been built on and has several eras of tradition built into it, with a bunch of sort of like equal parts Greek and German architecture thrown onto it, because it's what the original designers thought looked metal back in the day. And you just have this like almost out of body experience as Ben pulls up in this swagged out restored like 1944 Ford pickup truck. And for some, well, I'll allow y'all to, you know what? No. So Hubbard Park has been home to everything from traveling amusement parks to despicable colonial era bounty hunters. The tragedies of its earliest days have never left the woods, and it's home to several spirits. The Oak Leaf Trail Bridge, a 135-mile multi-use trail network, passes past the park, extending south to well outside the city, to Racine, sort of at its furthest south, which is about half an hour, 40 minutes away for those of you not familiar with the area, to Menominee Falls at the far north point. And that trail, in turn, connects to like other trails that essentially network Wisconsin like veins and arteries. The park is as gorgeous in parts as it is dangerous in others. The loop that encircles much of Milwaukee, of these trails, sort of find their nexus near Hubbard Park. And it is, one of these tunnels is sort of infamous for a haunted train. But the whole park is said to be pretty lit up with spiritual activity. And Ren just implied that the Leaf Trail Bridge, or the Oak Leaf Trail, and the bridge might be some sort of passage. So Ben pulls up with the pickup as perhaps you don't know all of that, depending on how long you've been in Milwaukee, as little parts of that and little snippets are, the ambient bits that the party would collectively know, right? You can all piece together, you heard this, and Salvatore heard that, and so on and so forth, right? So Ben, I guess what's the heading, everyone? Is it to Pixie's Haven? Is it to Hubbard Park? I mean, the night's young. Plenty of trouble yet to still get into for a young kindred.
All right, so what I know from Decker is whenever there's wolves around, he wants them not. So
Yeah.
if we head back to him right now to let him know what's going on, is he likely to thank us for bringing that information, or is he more likely to call for our heads for not doing something about it?
Have you seen us? Not exactly a paragon of strength and willpower, I think.
I mean, they are dogs. Sure, we can outsmart a dog.
Yes, but there's some very smart dogs out there. Have you seen border collies? But regardless, I think we should just go to him, like Ben was saying. Just, if we need to, there's my place. If we need to drop off nails, we can recover. I've got some juice boxes in the back if he needs to eat, which I imagine he's going to be hungry after he wakes up. But I don't think we need to keep any more secrets from Decker.
I don't think juice boxes are going to do a little bad.
Oh, why not?
He's too old.
Oh, right. Should have remembered that. Guess we'll have to think about food later. For now, I think we need to find Decker.
Almost with the mention of food, the party sort of shares a collective stare as the beast riles in all of them. Roll arouse to see if you gain a hunger.
God damn it.
Roll rouse or roll arouse? You gotta be very careful with those wordings.
Roll a
Yeah.
rouse check, right? Yeah.
Roll arouse check arouse.
Oh, God.
I see
Cass is
our
hungry.
rapport has built up to where we're getting to that part of like a party's like a relationship.
Look, we've read anxiety-induced terror. Now we have to make the sexual innuendo.
Yeah, now we have to do the innuendos. All right, yeah, right on. Yeah, so roll your everyone roll the rouse check, just the single d10. If you have higher blood potencies, it does not help you with this check.
Cass is hungry, and not for food.
Oh yeah, fail again.
I do
Pix
gotta
is
use the
also
bathroom real
starting to
quick,
feel
though.
hungry.
So Pix, I hear Pix failed.
Yes, I did, unfortunately. I shouldn't have mentioned food. Now I'm thinking about it.
It happens to us all. How's Elizabeth doing?
I got 1 success.
Ben Sahar,
Fail.
you're at 2 now.
Yes.
Salvatore,
Also at 2 hunger.
cool. Cass,
At 1.
1 hunger. Elizabeth, what's your hunger now?
How do I say it? Like, I haven't gained any hunger yet.
So you're good.
Oh, you're at 1 then.
You don't understand why these be 0 unless you're a what's it called, ancillary or whatever, who can never satiate their hunger unless they kill something.
I got 0 hunger.
All right,
That
Pix.
sounds fun.
Number 2.
Oh,
Getting a little hungry.
yeah. Almost like if there was a fraction I could do right now, like 3/5 of the party is starting to hear the call. If
If
you,
you carrying around the juice box,
it's
we
just
can take care of that hunger like that.
Just like that.
That straw pick.
So I mean, it seems you have a real decision to make here. Report back to Decker that you cowards didn't confront a werewolf when it attacked the Rave, one of Milwaukee's prized sort of hallmarks. One of its main landmarks. I'm sorry, of attraction. This proving grounds for bands and national stage for international acts. Or you can brave this exceedingly haunted park in hopes of tracking down some wolves and perhaps get yourselves, murdered in the process. It's a real Sophie's choice.
I mean, like you said, the night's young. We could always just drop off nails and take a look at that park.
I like this plan.
Cass agrees.
I'll just leave a note on the cooler, like, blood bags in here. Pop this part of the catheter out and drink all you want.
All right. So Ben gets directed to your haven. Do you have a description on your haven? Do you have an understanding where your haven is, or?
I do. Not a direct location just yet, but I do have a descriptor. I imagine, like, Pix is, pointing out.
Pix is pointing out. It'll come back. I believe.
Like,
sorry.
Oh, yeah. Turn down here, and it's on this dirt path. Oh, go right ahead.
Sorry, you gotta reset.
Like,
you
Pix is pointing out
scrambled right when
streets,
it
like-
happened. Yeah, sorry. You gotta reset.
Ah, gosh darn it.
Yeah.
No. All right, yeah. Pix is like pointing out streets, like, oh yeah, turn down this way and that. Like, it starts to get a little more rural, a little more out the city until like we're at the route looks like a canal, and there's one of those pipes that lead out of it. And at that point, she's hopping out of the bed of the truck, which I meant to where she's been sitting the entire time, and points out the pipe. She says, "I hope you don't mind waiting. Luckily, there hasn't been too much rain this season, but I'm in there."
And this
Yeah,
like in this little like sort of pipe that maybe empties out into the Milwaukee River, right? And you might be actually kind of close to the river walk not obviously on it, but you could make it over
Oh,
the
yeah.
Riverwalk, which gives you great access to downtown and other parts of, touristy parts of Milwaukee, which is great for hunting, incidentally.
Whatever blood banks are up there.
Right, right. And we'll go ahead and let the player Sam go use the restroom as the party sort of gathers their wits and talks.
Sweet, thank you.
Or I could do what the real professionals have and have like an intermission screen with a countdown timing of like 5 minutes or something like that.
You gotta speed run your pee.
I can do that.
Yeah. Does the
mean,
party
so-
require an intermission, or do you just want to talk through the scene? Sorry.
Oh no, yeah, we're gonna be like put some like characterization into Pix's Haven.
Let's do some characters. I like that better if nobody
Yeah.
else has to take a break.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're gonna have to wade through a bit of water. I imagine like at this point, at the time of the year, it's like up to ankle length, so probably while we're dragging nails through it, we're gonna get a little wet.
I'm not going in there. Do you have another
Free
entrance that we
activity.
can use?
I mean, I'm working on that. I'm still learning the sewers around here, but I can carry your shoes if you like.
But that still means that my feet will get wet.
Feet dry.
Would you all prefer my place?
I think this is good. I think this will work. No one's really going to want to venture in there unless they have to, so he will more than less be safe. I'm
I'd
just
take
not going in.
offense. Fair. I take offense normally, but well, to each their own.
Oh yeah, I don't judge you at all from where you
I
choose
do.
to set up shop. Of course you do. You judge everyone.
True.
Well, someone needs to carry him in, so Sal will shoulder Nails and
Well,
Follow.
Cass has him, I'm sure, but he's more than happy to, since he's not here, Gray Blob mode. He's more than happy to shift the focus onto a character that is here. So now you've got Nails.
Pixie will give a genuine grin to anyone who enters in. And of course, wading into that darkness, the sloshing of water, eventually you'll come across one of those service doors as it begins to open up to the sewer. And Pixie will rap on it twice, no response. She'll just open the door with a gesture and say, "Home sweet home. I just moved in though, so no bed yet."
Sal probably has to like kind of duck / crouch carry Nails in through this service door.
Oh yeah, it's tiny.
Nice digs.
Thanks. And like in the 3 months that she's been in Milwaukee, Pix has tried to kind of make it homey. Like there's a really questionable looking mattress dragged into the corner. There's an old TV, a few cameras, but most importantly, there is a huge cooler, like the kind of thing you'd bring to a barbecue or a God, I can't remember the word. It's when white people go and like go to games and like tailgater.
Tailgate.
That's it, tailgater. That you knew.
Fantastic.
Like there's a big blue tailgater cooler, and Pix pops it open, shows off from her latest shopping trip to Milwaukee's blood banks. A bunch of blood bags. Help yourself if you like. I'd be a bad host after all. I just sorry about it. Just moved here's all.
I mean,
But yeah,
Sal
you can
is
put him on
not
the
one
bed.
to pass up a drink after setting Nails down.
Yeah, Cass will take one as well.
Pixie will also have one. She'll make a show of like, you take the initial tube, the catheter, you pop open the plastic with your claw, and then you could just slurp it like a Capri Sun.
Waiting for the Sal, what's a Capri Sun?
Sal's had he's seen them in stores.
Oh gosh, let me age it here for a boomer. It's like going to the soda fountain and getting a drink with your honey.
Juice box.
I just couldn't do the whole biting people thing. Besides, it's more convenient. And our friend
Never.
here, I know, she'll gesture wherever, like we put him probably on the dirty mattress. He'll probably want someone he's up, no matter how old he is. I think everyone can enjoy a juice box.
if he wakes.
If he wakes. But he isn't dust, right? That stands for something.
Yeah, he's Nails is, like I said, this is the real deal. When a Methuselah goes into torpor, it's kind of a deal. Can be kind of a problem if he is a Methuselah. Who knows? You just have the word of a Malkavian.
Hmm.
But any kindred sort of forced into torpor is going to have a rough time waking up. See, I've got the ambient sounds here. Charlotte threw together painstakingly, and Charlotte, I'm not judging your work. I think you do a great job, but there's no sewer sounds.
Really, with a Nosferatu in the party, you should have expected some
Just
sewer
like
diving.
trickling water and rats screeching or something.
Oh, hey, if anyone is interested in hearing sewer sounds for next session, I do have a coffee account. Just saying.
Paywall for sewer sounds.
Just messing around. All right. So you can slake one hunger with a blood bag. If you have a blood potency of 2 or higher, it won't do anything for your hunger.
Alas. But Pix is going to make a point of grabbing one from the cooler, as everyone's getting their fill, and take one for Elizabeth just in case. She didn't say anything, but it's polite to bring extra drinks for your friends.
All right.
So quick Decker question, just as Sal's mulling over the part where, yes, they didn't fight, but they also technically couldn't, and he also feels kind of like the compromise may keep him out of it. What are Decker's laws specifically about fighting if one is unable to fight, or does it get in the clarity like?
You've been in the city a while, okay? You've had a pretty good read on Decker, and his reputation as the Tyrant Prince doesn't come from nowhere. It does seem like there's some inconsistent tellings of Decker, but that's going to be true of any kindred, right? The thing in your mind currently is that your treaty would probably leave you in a gray area. You'd probably be okay. All right. You've been in the city. You've probably done some stuff for Decker on like a some minor or benign level to where you're not on his shit list. And with the treaty, Decker doesn't want to bring down like an entire Camarilla agreement. With an entire conglomerate of clans just because that would be your impression.
Okay.
You don't know that like someone who's been here 2 weeks, someone who's kind of tolerated because the city needs a Malkavian, I guess, since the last one vacated, a emissary who's been here a month, or a person who's trying to establish a kindred bar in a place that kind of frowns upon kindred monopolies are going to fare as well. You're not sure. You don't know. It really depends on how much you think you can convince Decker that you really couldn't do anything. And if you can convince him that you couldn't do anything, would he care or view it as a failing of your ability in the first place? It's who's useful to Milwaukee. He sent you on a task. Do you know if she's a Kadaf or not? And did you stop a werewolf from vandalizing the landmark that is the Rave?
Oh no. Sal knows he definitely did not. Sal just kind of gives that sigh and says, well, we should go to the park.
Yeah, think Nails will be okay here, provided he doesn't mind bed bugs, but... Right. Can't just leave this, especially Athena. She just seems so innocent in all this. Or at the very least, she doesn't deserve what's happening to her, especially being kidnapped by those things.
So, it seems like the Don't Call Us a Coterie has a heading now. You head to Hubbard Park?
I think we do.
All right. It's not that difficult to get to Hubbard Park. It is a park after all, and it's a rather large one at that. It's nestled near enough by the Rave, though an indeterminate amount of distance from Pixis Haven. It is along a waterway itself, so it's conceivable that it's just another shot around the river type thing. So you head to, it's a park. It's in Milwaukee. It's very big. The interesting thing about Hubbard Park is it's sort of terraced, and there is an old rail trail. Currently, it's quiet. It's maybe a little too quiet. You can see the sort of usual things, sort of lush, deep forests of, intermixed deciduous and conifer trees. Don't get an opportunity to say deciduous too much, so I got to bust it out. Intermixed throughout the park. It's got sections like many Milwaukee parks where it's just wide green expanses where you can walk, throw a picnic, couple canopies and picnic tables for you to have a party or something like that. Hiking trails, and then actually bizarrely dense clutches of forest around that you sort of walk between or even straight up through without any trails. And again, Hubbard sort of it makes its way down in these like cool little terraces, which is sort of one of its features.
Cue the wilderness music.
Oh yeah, I'm grabbing it. Park at night.
Ooh.
Let's mix it up here. There we go.
All right, so I'm assuming that when Sal and Pixie were talking, that was when they were back at the truck where Ben and I were. We've all kind of discussed about going to the park.
Reconvened. Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
No, Sal is just
I guess we could be in the truck on the way there, and now you're like, wait a second, where are we going? I think that's a little bit more.
This isn't.
I got
the
so
direction
eager.
Of...
Yeah, I got so eager to play the park at night music that I just. Sorry, no. This is more like you're getting in the car, Sal and Pix are like having the conversation, Cass and stuff like that, and they come outside and like, all right, let's go, and like start to give you instruction. And Ben's like, wait a second, this isn't to Decker type thing, and scene. Let's go. Although Pix does have a blood bag for you.
Yeah, she'll with a dramatic flair open up her jacket and show off a drink. Let me know if you get hungry.
Capri
no.
Sun.
No, thank you.
Oh,
what was that, Sal?
A Capri Sun.
I see. Yes, I remember those. But I shall pass. Thank you, though.
I don't know what those are, but I would rather chew my hand off than drink out of that.
Oh.
All right,
if
so
we
this
go
is...
to Decker, it's likely that it doesn't end well for many of us.
Right. And we can't just leave Athena to the claws of those things. At the very least, we have to make a show for Decker.
We can't let a masquerade breacher die? Interesting.
We don't know that she is the actual breacher.
Well, we don't know if she is the source, but we do know she's the one on stage doing the singing. She would be the breacher.
But who's
Breacher...
guilty, the puppet or the puppet master?
Ish. mean, you have a point, Ben.
Said no one ever.
No, someone marked down the date. But Salvatore did make a good point. Decker's not going to be pleased with us if we come back empty-handed, but we were in a trance, and there was this shadow man, and now there's werewolves on the loose, and they kidnapped that woman you specifically asked us to look into. It's like the dog ate your homework kind of deal.
Literally.
I don't see a problem with that.
And besides,
If-
who knows? Maybe they're not up to fight. Oh, go ahead,
yeah.
sorry.
Yikes.
I guess we're screwed either way. We go back to him. He might not be happy. We go find the werewolf. It probably
He
isn't
won't be
happy.
The hope is if it was just one, it's badly hurt from nails.
Right.
Sal, you don't watch many nature documentaries, do you, buddy? You see a lot of solo wolves in Italy.
We didn't have many wolves in Sicily.
Also, tracking down werewolves. Pixie, do you have a gun or any sort of way to hurt a werewolf?
I mean, I've seen a gun.
Okay.
The kid
Let's
can drive.
go round robin here. Has anybody except for Sal ever even hurt a person? Well, I guess cats maybe.
Pixie's
That's
gonna
a
look at
silly
Cass.
question.
I hurt somebody's feelings once.
That's more what I was thinking.
Oh man, yeah, we're ready. We're ready for this.
Hey, the kid can drive, can't she?
Not as good as I hear you can,
God,
but I'm not letting her drive my truck.
I got my license, and besides, I mean, you see what deer. I mean, you've seen roadkill. You see deer. With a werewolf, it's got to be the same, right? And besides, it might not. No, not. It might not even want to fight with us. At the best, we just go out there. We find out Athena's been torn to shreds. We report back to Decker, good citizens, and then we can all vanish into the night.
Actually, that's a good point. What does he value more? Us taking the fight to the werewolves or confirming what he asked us to confirm? Our instructions were to go look into the one who is kind of letting our secret slip, right?
Right.
Right, best case scenario, she's already been torn to shreds.
We find her jacket to bring back or something. Just it feels kind of shitty, honestly. She was so sweet. Pixie's just gonna shoot a glare at Ben for that. Just don't shrug. She was a sweetheart.
Give it a few years, it'll lose its sheen.
I'll take your word for it, but who's up for a late night wolf hunt?
Well, I don't think we have much choice, do we?
No.
I'm driving. I have every decision to turn around.
You leave us now, we'll make sure that we spin this in not your favor towards Decker, so...
So much for becoming a coterie, geez.
Welcome to Kindred Politics, kid. Touche.
Like that he had the quick do the to Abby, but then also I see somebody is playing Kindred Politics. There's a little the theme of the campaign is dichotomies, and just instantly out of his mouth he had to speak in dichotomies.
Look at us doing the actual play thing.
Yeah, there you go. That was fantastic. So now does the code "Don't Call Us a Coterie" make its way to toward the park? I guess Ben.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, as we're walking through, I will stay a little bit closer to Ben, I think, because I am assuming that he's going to be kind of bringing up the rear.
I guess that's an interesting question. Does the party walk as like a clutch? Do they, you know, single file line like Dungeons and Dragons, or like how do you approach this park? Do you park on the street? Do you park in the parking lot? Across the street, around the block? Like, how do you approach this park?
Ooh. Is there enough room down this trail to bring the truck?
And does Ben have any guns? Because Sal left his at
Yeah, he
home.
does.
Like, can't we just commit, like, vehicular werewolf slaughter?
Has that
Because I
happened?
value my truck more than Abby.
This is America. There are plenty of cars around.
And guns.
That's why video games don't actually break verisimilitude or ludonarrow dissonance. When you're running around, you just find ammo and guns. If it's set in America, that's actually how it is in America. Like Resident Evil, when there's just like picking up bullets and guns. That's just how it is for the international audience.
Every
Man,
battle royale game is like spending a weekend in Milwaukee.
I got ripped off in Florida then. Not a single gun. Or bullet.
You're looking in the wrong place.
I don't think so.
All right. What do you do with your vehicle, Ben? I just want to make sure that I have a note here for where the vehicle is, just in case.
I'm gonna find a parking lot not in the park, but or a parking area near the park, maybe like a block or so.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to leave it in the driveway.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, and then you approach the park. So it should be noted that Milwaukee's city laws, parks tend to close at 10 o'clock, and it's about midnight right now. You've got about 5 hours before dawn hits, and you make your approach to this park from about a block away. The city of Milwaukee itself sort of quickly fades. The buildings just of sort of pseudo downtown, though a little bit older area, quickly like just sort of shrink in size until real quick it's like, you know, a Target, a couple of houses, and then just in stark contrast, this expanse of wilderness on the other side of the block. There's a little parking lot, and as you make your way past the parking lot, past the first sort of, the most easily accessible thing would be a playground. As you make your way past that, the vestiges of civilization quickly fade. By the time you reach this sort of old German-style covered bridge with all these little etchings upon it, you've pretty much left the city behind. You're in a different world, just in the middle of Milwaukee. Go ahead and roll a wits awareness, everybody. Oh, go ahead.
Also, real quick though, before we leave my truck, I am gonna get some party favor stuff to bring with me because I have a Colt Anaconda 44 Magnum. Not letting Sal use that, but I will yet let him have the big P229, and then I also have a K bar that I'm gonna put on, and then I have a small like a duffel bag, and I'm not opening it yet. But I'm going to make sure that I bring that with me also.
Okay. So the party witnesses Rambo here, like just pulling stuff out of the truck and like handing out a couple guns, I guess.
On the Anaconda, though, it says fireball. Every wizard has to have a fireball.
That's so corny. I love it.
Exactly.
It's a little startling that you can fit that many weapons into a single vehicle.
Oh, we can fit more. We have the technology.
Just cue like computer startup sounds and picks his mind as she, okay, and then heads down the trail.
Sal quickly familiarizes himself with the weapon and then just puts it into his kind of front of his coat.
All right.
Captain Pep's old trusty Colt 45.
Colt 45. If it's good enough for Billy D. Williams.
That's right.
1 second here. I'm just checking a note. See, the notebook normally it has all the like important big thoughts. The lame things like details are kept elsewhere. Where was I? Mitchell Park Domes. No. All right. Got it. All right. So yeah, you have this this sort of old German style covered bridge as you sort of like you're about to sort of leave the last vestiges of the city behind, and go ahead and roll wits and awareness or wits and investigation if you're stopping to really like take in this bridge, I suppose.
I got 1 success from wits and awareness.
All right.
I got 6.
Oh boy,
Yep,
my
6
successes
successes
don't
for
matter.
mine. Oh, sorry about that. That would be 6 successes on wits and awareness, a critical success.
Okay. All right. The one, hey, pretty good bridge. This actually isn't messing around. Like it doesn't just like look like old German architecture. It's legit. This would hold up under any architect scrutiny. Good job. Maybe there's some like I don't know carvings or whatever. Who cares? The 2 sixes pay particular close attention to the carvings. They're going to notice 2 things. First and foremost, there are newer ones etched into it of sort of they do not match the architecture and they're not vandalism. You see them along the rails, along the sides. It's just subtle details. It's not like they're all up and down and hatched all over the place, but you notice these little sort of interspersed throughout. And then you also notice some rather explicitly sort of carved effigies. With the 6, I'll go ahead and give you this. Pix may have only been in the city a short time, but for whatever reason she's come across, maybe she spent some time down by Mount Mary College, Mount Mary University, or maybe she has she made a friend on campus. Maybe Francis. I don't know if Francis has been to a few Mount Mary parties or whatever. But you've become aware of something called the Church of Isis or the Cult of Isis. You recognize some of their carvings on this bridge. Like, those are the older ones. They're part of the bridge's construction. In other parlance, well, we'll just leave it there for now.
Huh.
They're a little out of place, but they're so well done. They just blended in. It would have taken a particularly keen eye to notice this. You can go ahead and feel free to point them out to the party, but
Oh yeah, I was just saying my connection's been bubbling a bit, but Pix is definitely gonna point them out. She's gonna, hey, any of y'all see those around town a bit?
So you watch the graffiti and scribblings and just sheer vandalism?
I mean, no. She's gonna like kind of take Elizabeth by the shoulder and specifically point out the symbols. Those.
with them pointed out
Church
to
of
you,
Isis, Cult of Isis, whatever.
with them pointed out, you can see them. Like you're like, I mean, it's really good craftsmanship. It's a Torador, decent. I mean, it's peasant art, but it's well done. Like who chooses a bridge as their medium, really? Same thing, Ben. As it's being pointed out, like I mean, you see them plain as day. You could maybe perhaps roll an occult now that they've been pointed out to you. Intelligence occult.
I was waiting till you were done. Then I was going to ask.
Looking for the dice roll over here, or?
And no, I was waiting for something to load.
Okay.
Get all them hunger dice. Oh, man. Not too much.
How much?
Just 2.
Just 2. Anyone else have a cult or roll a cult?
I can roll it. I also only got 2.
Okay. You can't make out all of them. I mean, they have like very distinct ones. They'll be like sort of like serpent-headed ones, and like like various bears and stuff that feels natural to the environment, whether it's a throwback to old German architecture or like incorporating Wisconsin wildlife, right? Like they feel natural, but it's the actual nature of them. It's the specifics of them that like that's not a timber rattler, that snake there. That's a that would be elsewhere, right? That's the kind of like subtlety that you notice. With just a 2, you recognize some of these as like signifying of meeting place, maybe a place to meet or something like that, but not just secret cult meeting. It's more of a like a universal, perhaps it even carries some sort of thaumaturgical properties for meeting. You've also sort of had these other carvings pointed out. And I'm not sure what... I'm not... It's not like werewolves are common knowledge to kindred, and there's not really a skill dedicated to them.
Unless you're doing a cult specialty.
I'll leave you an occult. You can roll a separate occult for the other like the hand carved sort of not part of the architecture stuff. You just see like a couple hashes here, or what someone walking on the bridge might normally, during the daytime, what Gein might just mistake as graffiti or vandalism. You can go ahead and both of you can roll a separate occult for those.
Nothing if not consistent.
2 again?
2 again.
I got 1.
2, they're Lupine. 1, you just like, they're not vandalism. You're like, these mean something, but you don't know what. At a 2, you're like, I have no idea what they mean, but this is some werewolf shit. You'll note that they don't specifically vandalize any of the Church of Isis stuff.
Place just gets better and better.
What do you mean? You mean aside from the spooky cult thing?
Spooky cult thing, giant man-eating dogs. Yeah, just some spooky shit.
You hear a distant baying, almost on cue, from across the bridge and deep into the woods.
Does it sound like more than 1?
Just 1. Then you hear some bird noises. Weird, but were they bird noises?
This
Were they
late at night?
people? Yeah.
Salvatore's gonna look around using Auspex, sense the unseen, for something hiding nearby. Or
Roll your dice.
wits or resolve. So actively looking, so resolve plus Auspex. Why can't I roll from here?
You should just be able to click it within your character sheet.
Yeah.
Really good job on these park sounds, by the way. I feel like I'm there personally.
I was just thinking the exact same thing.
My mind is actually traveling into Milwaukee as I'm like describing the bridge, and I'm like, I know this bridge. I've added some affects to it, obviously, but like, it's
Sense the unseen.
In one of the playlists, there is
critical success.
Wolf sounds.
A critical.
Six successes critically.
Okay. Sense the Unseen also sees ghosts and stuff. You can see sort of like bane spirits flitting about, like the woods and stuff, just the classic orbs. Numerous, countless. Just so bane spirits aren't in particularly they don't really particularly do anything. They usually just signify that, like, it's the Willem Dafoe there was a firefight scene. They mostly just signify that, like, there was a spiritual firefight at some point, and you see them everywhere. They light up the woods like fireflies. It actually sort of like right now you're basking in this sort of like ambient glow that only you can perceive, and the park is as bright as day to you. It's actually almost kind of, dare I say, beautiful. You can catch flits of like the sort of like more grayed out, more sort of the varying, because they all have their own little sort of like energy to them. You can catch flits of some other stuff, but nothing moving in any meaningful manner. They're there. They're like, but the Bane spirits are just like eclipsing anything else. As far as off the spiritual plane, you're looking. I mean, you don't notice anyone like. That's not true. Behind you, you catch the glimpse of somebody in sort of like plain clothes, like just a leather jacket, and they just like real quick duck behind a trash can when they notice your head kind of turned that way. Because you're just like scanning with auspex, right? And they're just like, almost like they just didn't expect to be seen at all in any way. And they're just like, they see your head and like, and they do one of those real quick, like, oh shit, and like real quick, like dive behind a garbage can.
There's somebody behind us, but I don't see much else other than the spirits of the woods.
Creepy. You think they're following us?
How far away was the one behind?
I mean, they'd be long enough to stay out of earshot if they needed to be.
Okay.
Type thing. I don't know, like 20 feet back or something like that.
Not like close enough they were going to try to stab somebody.
No. They looked almost like alien-like. They were wearing like a leather jacket, like a white T-shirt on underneath, a pair of jeans, but like they were a little like sort of gaunt and formless. Sort of like the hint of a face, but very featureless, except for like two just sort of washed out, large like white orbs, and then these like sort of pointed, almost bat-like ears.
Maybe worth seeing who they are before we try to cross this bridge.
After you.
So Sal just kind of turns on his heel and strides right towards where I saw the figure hide.
Yep. You head that way. You head that way, and you just like you hear the swearing before, and technically the obfuscate's still up, but you hear the swearing like well before they do. Your senses are still like heightened and stuff, and just like shit. Good move, Sundown. Fucking good move.
As Sal starts walking towards the place, I'm going to use Silence of Death and start following closely behind Sal and start opening up the bag.
Do I want to know what you're pulling out the bag, or if anyone's particularly curious in the party?
It's a large black gladius.
Oh. I mean, Pix is following behind. Now it's turned into some LARPer shit. We've got swords.
Be a real fucking shame if I have to stab in the bushes and find you.
And very classically, so this is a person with a very good obfuscate, not used to being seen. Just thinks they got seen, but isn't quite certain. And they're doing the sort of classic thing where they're looking out from one side of the old, not even aluminum, like the old school steel, wrapped cans, right? Just looking one side. It's got the ribbing and it's indented, And looking around the one side, and they see the party who, unless they sense unseen, no way they see them. This was LARP. They'd have their arms crossed right now. And then just Sal, just classically, Sal's still picking up all the Bane spirits. So from Sal's perspective, he is just this stark black shadow, just eclipsing behind the person who doesn't know they've been, how truly screwed they might be. And Sundown's name takes on a slightly different connotation as Sal just sort of towers above him, and he has the half moonlight backlighting him and everything. Okay, all right. Sundown whispering to himself.
Why are you following us?
He's got his hands on the trash can. He's like, shit. Salvatore, he says. It's at that point that smoke being blown away. The rest of the party sees Sundown come into focus. Sundown is Nosferatu, very apparently so. His deformity takes the form in being very gaunt and, like I said, almost like an alien gray. Just very, very formless, very skin's even almost like a pallid gray color instead of any hint of other humors or stuff like that. The features only hint at a mouth and where a nose should be, and then just these white orbs that are eyelidless, just washed out. And Sundown's just kind of hi everybody. Sundown. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, he says. And he kind of stands up and he rotates around the trash can to be closer towards Pix and further from Salvatore, and then bends directly in the middle, and the party's just sort of formed a crescent, and this trash can has become Sundown's shield. How's it going? You asked a question. How's it going? He asks you, evading the question quickly.
Sal just deadpans. Why are you following us?
Can you put in a little intimidation into that, perhaps? Little.
Yeah, I'm sure Sal has a very... I mean, he's certainly not trying to ask politely.
Yeah. You can go ahead and roll if you would like, but I think...
Wait, Sundown? It's me. Hicks, come on.
Yeah, you're the one I told that group. Yeah, I remember you. Hi, how's it going? Just kind of.
Wait, what, that first part.
I just had to make sure you were safe. He immediately goes back to Salvatore. I just had to make sure you were safe, and you got what you're looking for. So you found the bridge. I'll be going now. And he just starts the turn.
I think you meant you're going to cross the bridge first.
Oh, no. Sundown never crosses the bridge. You see, allergic, really. Vampires over water. Old curse. I can't do it. Unfortunately, I try to. And it's like being stabbed, just in my feet, but then also my brain.
I can accommodate being stabbed.
Yeah, but in my soul.
Be in your soul too.
Right, the Tremere, he says. You must be Ben Sahar. He actually does the air quotes, by the way.
You're very well informed, Sundown.
yeah, I see things, I hear things, I go looking for things. Tonight I came looking for you, and I found you, and you found the bridge, so we're good. Can I go now?
I'll just kind of
You and
look
I are
to
gonna
the
have,
others.
have a talk later.
Yeah, later. If you make it back. And he giggles just like that.
Did you see any wolves?
No, not well. I mean, the one that Decker would be pleased to know that you let run amok through the Rave. Yeah, I guess I saw that one.
Which way did it go?
Across the bridge.
The bridge which you refuse to cross.
Can't cross. Can't. Ancient Russian curse, as it were.
Sure.
If you want to roll to see if he's lying, there's a skill for that.
Oh yeah.
I believe it'd be wits and intuition.
Oh, insight.
Or yeah, sorry.
Insight, yeah.
Yeah, insight.
I got 3 6.
I believe him so incredibly well. Like,
Oh yeah, the ancient Russian curse, like he totally just pull that out his ass. And
I'm
like,
afraid
maybe,
to go over the bridge slightly right now. Like I'm questioning my own ability to to walk over moving water.
At 3, yeah, I mean, maybe there's some like, there's something to, some vampires have some weird. This is not this motherfucker's curse. Nuh-uh. No way. He's lying through his teeth. In fact, everything about him screams one word. Pest. He's a pest. He is a weasel. Except weasels, they're dope. But in this case, it's, the word that means, weaselly. So he's Russian curse, my bloodline, really, from my mom's side. Whatever it is, some folks get embraced and they can't cross bridges anymore.
Castle say in Russian, I know that's bullshit.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I don't speak German.
Are we gonna have to play Pop Goes the Weasel?
Oh,
I mean,
I like that game.
There used to be some carnival grounds around here. I'm sure that was a game, maybe, like a whack-a-mole. I'd imagine they could have played, I suppose. But if you found it, that would be unfortunate because that would mean you've crossed over, you stepped sideways, and it happens sometimes in the woods. But
Under normal circumstances, this could be amusing to watch. But we're standing out here in the middle of a forest, hunting a werewolf.
oh yeah, and
So,
you're doing a great job.
Sal, why don't you grab this guy, bring him with us?
I was just thinking about grabbing him by his ears and just pulling him across.
All right, he as you say that, he does the classic turn to run and just immediately. Sal, Cass, you both kind of. You want to discuss how you mutually both decide to grab him, if you want to cede initiative to one or another. It's the party. He's slippery, but Sal's got the drop on him, and he's not in his best frame of mind currently, not used to being seen with 6 successes through his obfuscate.
I mean, Sal just goes for the proverbial throat. Granted, it would probably be the scruff of the neck.
Yeah,
But,
all right. All right. Do you grab the ear as well? Like, so he's like, ah! Okay.
Yes.
All right. I was coming. I mean, The bridge thing, you're gonna have to blindfold me and make me walk backwards. It's a really bad curse. It might curse you. It can spread if we don't do it just right. It's a ritual. It's a really complicated one. The Tremere can help with the ritual, I'm sure. He knows a way to help me cross the bridge.
Yeah,
I mean, you do realize that the curse is running water, right? Nothing about vampires and bridges. I mean, at least that's what I've seen in movies.
it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
Trolls.
If Sal's dragging him, it doesn't matter. He's not crossing the bridge.
I'm not.
Nope.
Loopholed.
Sal's crossing it.
And Sal just kind of starts push/pulling him.
You know, ow. At least ow is what I'd be saying if I could just feel the pressure. Why are you? Look, I just really more of a lover than werewolf go-getter. It's my charm, you see, that Decker keeps around, obviously.
It's too late, lover boy.
And he looks over at Pix like, and he's just like, "Come on, Nuss, we stick together." Clan
I mean,
over,
we certainly do stick together.
clan over, friends, right?
You are sticking together. You're going with her to make sure she's okay.
Yeah, that. Vix is just gonna give Ben a genuine smile. Of course. I mean, you weren't gonna let little fledgling neonate cross that big scary bridge by myself, right? I mean, no.
The running water, it's, he looks, ooh, it's really moving fast. I might even take, like, really bad, I might really get hurt. This could, and he, like, just closes his eyes, and as, Sal, like, sort of, like, forces him across, like, he just starts, like, acting out, like,
I'm willing to take that risk.
and he, part of his legs go, like, limp.
There goes the
I think
element
Pix
of
is just like
surprise.
The minute you get to the other side of the bridge, he just, like, stands up, like, completely normal and, like, straightens his coat. Just, oh, wow. That was way worse than I remember it being.
How do we use this guy as wolf bait? Like, can we tie him up to a tree or something? Leave his entrails dragging behind him?
Sal pulls out a knife from his belt
Man.
and gets ready to just cut him open.
As a rule, I like my innards in. Just, perhaps we can barter.
No, I.
I'm not useful in a fight, and I don't think, with my condition, the werewolves would find me too palatable.
Give us a chance to get away.
You have to be faster than them. We just have to be faster than you.
Or I could tell you exactly where to go, and you let me go.
No chance.
You all want me to put the worm on the hook?
That sounds
If you got-
very ominous, but also good pun, because the werewolves call us the worm.
Sal, if you don't, I will.
I will tell Decker about all of this, by the way.
His
Like
rule
I s-
only says we can't kill you. It doesn't say we can't put you in a position to die.
Loophole
known the
yet again.
I've known the judges much longer than you, and me, and he's like in his panic. He's blanking. One of them go way back, Nosferatu stuff.
Mhm. I don't
What
think
does it
killing
make-
him is wise, as much as a pest he can be.
It's true. I am. Really, who wastes time on the fly? And he just kind of like gives Pix like a little bit of a nod.
The spider. Castles.
The inevitability of the situation is beginning to weigh on Sundown. So you don't want to barter. You just... what do you plan to do with me?
Whatever it takes for you to cease to be an annoyance.
Pest.
I mean, we could do the trade, get rid of his nuisance, and he tells us where it is. Well, first he tells us where it is.
Right, yeah.
Don't wonder why he was here in the first place following us.
He's Deckard's little bird. The fly on the wall.
Well put.
Or perhaps you could tell us.
I mean, that's a good summary. Fly on the wall, keep with the insect versus arachnid motif, I suppose. Not Decker's per se, but Decker finds my knack for sniffing out the trash to be useful. Again, the fly thing, I'm not calling you trash. I would never imply you're trash to your face. Like this. It's, he gives instructions through the woods. You can roll your insight again to see if he's telling you the truth or just bullshitting so that you let him go.
What would an insight be paired with?
Usually, I would go with like wits, maybe intelligence if you're kind of reading features and relying on more like a sort of book learning about patterns of behavior than you are like intuition. So
I got 4 successes this time.
I got 2. What do you think? Think we could believe this guy?
with your 2, it's clear this guy's he's some kind of a scoundrel. And you just generally you think that it's best to just not trust him in like just generally speaking. He might be telling the truth right now, but it's so clear that Sundown is willing to would lie, is the sort of person that just tells innocuous lies constantly, so that when like it's time to really lie, they flow as naturally as anything else, right? One of those types, and that is kind of obvious to you. But you're not like this. Like, I mean, it really is. It's like one of those like flip a coin. Who knows? These guys are like this guy's like just one of those born liars types. Or, maybe it's how he survived and whatever. But that's his part of his thing. At the 4, like you pick up something a little bit more honest than his normal self-preservation. It's an immediate fear of the arm and hand on his neck and the person that's menacing him with a huge sword, and somebody he might have to tell something very uncomfortable to at some point. Like his body language towards Pix is it's like fear. Okay, like honestly, like Elizabeth too. Like he's got this sort of general fear for like 3/5 of the party. He has a weird smugness toward you, because like whatever his shit he has to deal with, at least his head isn't fucked, type thing. But it's actually Pix when he thought he could use her to get out of this and like leverage her, like he moved towards her. But since then, since whatever that was, that exchange was, he's kind of leaning away from her. And the immediacy of getting out of this situation has become sort of tantamount. And as easily as he lies, that sort of primal immediate fear might have actually forced his tongue into some truth this time.
Nothing like a little peer pressure.
Buzz, buzz.
Oh.
I think he's telling the truth.
Are we done with him?
One quick sec. I'm gonna check using some blood sorcery. Andrew, I'm gonna check and see what sort of things he's not happy with, and like stains, and seeing if I can discern something that might be good dirt later in case I need to use this person again.
All right. Are you sensing something?
Yeah, I'm gonna be using some blood sorcery, so
Okay.
it'll be basically my charisma and sorcery versus his willpower.
Okay. Looking for.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What?
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna say yeah. It didn't totally suck. I got 6 successes.
Um.
So beating him like that, basically, you find out like a dirty secret or a recent stain.
Is it one
Or
per?
like, just because I only beat him by a small margin, I just get the one. Whatever's the juiciest.
I mean, there's a pretty big betrayal in there. Like it's there's a like there's a betrayal in there, and there's a hint of, we'll just say, strong kindred coercion. I can give you more details, like, in more of a DM sense, but in the sort of broadly to the party and an audience, there's a betrayal there. But it's not just like, oh, ratted somebody out, so snitched on someone type thing. It's a primal betrayal. It is a like, we're talking like blood bonds and magic and that type of betrayal.
Interesting.
Ghouling somebody when you're not supposed to would be a pretty big deal. It's along those lines.
So on that note, should we go ahead and call it for this evening? Because it's almost.
I was gonna get one descript and then we were good.
Okay, go ahead.
You got the instructions to go to the correct place, so we can kind of fast forward through the woods a little bit, and then we can set the scene for next
After
week.
Sal throws him into the river.
All right.
I'm gonna be like high five, high five.
Ah! Wilhelm scream. Sploocious into the river and like, weird. It doesn't hurt as much as crossing over it. He says back up, and he starts to sort of side swim to the other shore after. Yeah, I didn't have to breathe then, but I did.
As he crawls up to the bank, Pix is just gonna make the call me sign. She's definitely gonna remember this conversation.
I'm gonna look at Sal and be like, man, if we weren't in the middle of hunting something that could tear us in half, I would have shot his ass.
We've still got time tonight.
Side quest unlocked. Retribution, it just it shows up in the party's journal. Find Sundown, figure out what his betrayal is, and do something about it. All right, the party winds its way through the woods, looking for the markers that Sundown described. A bike path here, old rail trail here, a deer trail there, sort of thing. Look for this big tree of this specific marking instructions, and you'll know it. You'll know when you see it. Right here. The party sort of ends up off the beaten trail, as it were, off the main hiking trails, and sort of ends up in the darkened woods themselves. You're not quite certain where you're heading toward. And then you see it exactly where Sundown said it would be. The oldest radio tower in Milwaukee. Just reaching up through the trees. You're not certain why you didn't see it from your vantage point. You feel like you should have seen something that towers 1,800 feet above the landscape, but it just wasn't there before. Not until you got here. And you can see little like satellite dishes that have been retrofitted on it, but here it is. The oldest radio tower in Milwaukee. And once upon a time, the tallest structure of its nature in the world. Legend has it that it's the originator of of one of the many ghost stations you can pick up on riding the back roads through Wisconsin, through the Midwest even, when you're just scrolling through the AM frequencies late at night. He says, whatever you're looking for, you'll find it here. You can see the little cabin sort of like down and off to the side of it, and a part where the woods kind of clear out, and the little blinking red lights at the top of it to warn airplanes not to hit the thing, right? And there it is, right in the clearing. The WITI tower. And we can call it there. Wait, we can call it there right after I play one sound. Where is it? Outdoors ambient? Here we go. Nice.